So to me, like the word focus is interesting. Now, it's almost a word that's glamorized in sport, business or anything else. And, to be successful in sport, you have to focus, right? And people are like, yeah, focus on your sport. But what the word focus really means to me, I think 90% of the word focus is saying no. So if you're focusing on being an Olympian or a professional sports person or a Michael Phelps, that means you're saying no to friends, families, Christmases, birthdays, funerals, weddings, social occasions. And that's works. It doesn't make you a well-rounded person. It makes you very successful at the thing that you're focused on. But in every other aspect of life, you're a failure. And, I think perhaps he, like myself, had this romantic idea that when you finish a sport, you're kind of going to go back into like, and I've seen this all the time, like people like, yeah, I'm just going to finish my career and then we're going to get married and going to settle down and have a family. And it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And, like I had this idea of like, yeah, I'll finish. I'm going to spend more time like doing social stuff and reconnecting with my old friends. And they've already gone. Do you know what I mean? It's not like that. It's the world's
Yeah.
moved on without you.
Look, I didn't hit anywhere near the same heights you did. Very modest cycling career, but a lot of the same, similar, and it's even more tragic in some cases because you make some of the same sacrifices, but you don't get any of the same upside. Like I remember going back after I finished cycling, saying no to all the nights out, all the parties. Even if it was doing something social, you'd just show face and you'd leave. And then you finish this pursuit of trying to make it in cycling, whatever that means, make it, but you finish that pursuit and you think you can take these friendships back off the shelf. And it's like one mate in particular, I remember having a chat with him and he's just like, he's like, honestly, we were good mates when we were kids, but he's like, you just weren't there for me. He's like, you weren't there all the times I needed you. And he's like, that's what friendship is. And I was like, had this moment going, like, he's totally right. I just wasn't a good mate. All I was self-focused on one thing.
Yeah. Oh, mate. For what it's worth, I think, and this is a moment I reflect on too much. But yeah, I mean, you quickly mentioned earlier, so, I came from a sort of divorced background. I never saw my sort of biological father again. But also I never saw any of his sort of family again. And, there was a sort of a random moment, let's say, is, I sort of stumbled back into that arena briefly, only to kind of find that, not just that you'd missed out on decades, but, after people that you just assumed would still be there, they're all gone. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like literally in a physical sense, they were dead. And you're like, what the hell? I mean, and, at that point you think, shit, man, I'd give anything to sort of go back in time or, think about things differently or, perhaps just say a few final things. But you can't. And, that stuff's not even on the radar, which is, I mean, it's a sad truth of high performance, I think.
Yeah. I don't think high performance is what people outside of high performance think it is. I think high performance is lonely. High performance happens in the shadows, I heard someone saying. And I think that's kind of a nice expression that sums up a lot of what high performance is.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's. I think these days I'm very much a fan of like just um, health, physical activity, riding bikes. Playing five-a-side with your mates. I love all the sort of like social cohesion that can happen. The idea that doing exercise or sport, either as a keen amateur or an enthusiast, is a great thing. But would I say that elite professional sport is healthy in inverted commas? No, like absolutely not. I think you like, you push your body to like the absolute outer limits. You know what I mean? Even um you take you'll take you won't think anything of like taking three flat whites at Costa Coffee and then getting on your bike and just absolutely rinsing yourself for an hour and just like being just physically and mentally exhausted. Um, you know, and it's I don't think it's healthy in the traditional sense. Um, it's not for everyone, yeah.
Do you
And
think you,
to be honest, like if somebody said like, "What's a blueprint for success?" I don't think it's that difficult. Like I said, you have to focus. We've talked about what that really means in reality. And, you've got to sacrifice everything. I don't think it's that difficult to give someone a blueprint for success. You could tell them about high performance principles. You tell them like what the foundation is, like what marginal gains is, everything you have to sacrifice. I think the hardest thing is not losing yourself on the journey.
Yeah, and for me, even the hardest part of that is right back to the start of that statement. I'm still not entirely sure what success is. It's like when I look at people, you talk about Calvin Grant with their money. Is that success? Not for me, no. It's like you talk about other people with medals. It's like, is that success? I don't know, maybe. Like, it's just, the lad with the 8-figure exit, is that success? He's divorced, he's broken, he's miserable, he's flat. It's like, no, that's not success. Like, I'm still trying to find out what my version of that is. And I think if somebody had told me now, same age as you, in my 40s, that I would feel basically the same as I did in my 20s, like that I'd still have the same insecurities, I'd still have the same ambition, I'd still have the same indecision of where I'm going next. I think I might have played the 20s and 30s differently.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what success is either. I reckon we'll probably both work it out, mate, by the last week we have on the planet. But I mean, if somebody said today, like, what's success really about? I think the smartest thing I could tell them is, number one, just try and be a bit kinder to yourself and a bit kinder to others. And number two, I'd tell them that, like, for all of us, like, the most lasting success you can have isn't about money, power, fame, fortune. It's about what you can create and what you can leave behind.
Hey everybody, let's take a quick break to talk about the bike I'll be riding this season, Reap. I've been lucky enough to ride all the top brands in the world over the past few years, but these Reap bikes, they're not the same, and I'll tell you why. Reap is the first company I've seen that isn't chasing sales targets and the mass market. They're chasing something very rare, perfection. Every bike they make, it's crafted in the UK factory, and it's not about slapping a Made in Britain label on a bike from a Chinese factory. It's about control. From the first sketch to the final build, they're hands-on, ensuring that every detail is dialed in. That's very rare in an outsourced world of mass production. What sets them apart is innovation. While others pump out the same old designs, Reap's pushing boundaries. They're not following trends, they're setting trends. Think precision and performance, like an F1 car for the road. Absolutely no compromises. And it shows, and you can feel it when you ride the bikes. These bikes are built for riders who demand the best, whether they're chasing podiums or just want a machine that feels like an extension of your body, a piece of art. It's not hype, it's substance. Ride a Reap for yourself, and you're riding something crafted with intent. So if you're serious about cycling, check them out. It's reapbikes.com. I absolutely love my one, and I couldn't recommend it highly enough. Back to the show.